joining us for today's service of Multifaith Readings and Reflection. My name is Bavli, and I work here in the Spiritual Care Department. Today in this service, throughout the service, you will see prayers and scriptures which represent some of our multi-faith community. We encourage everyone to participate in all aspects of the service and to enjoy and celebrate those aspects that you have found most supportive and helpful to you. We hope that everyone will learn something new today, and in that spirit, keep an open mind throughout. Today's theme is on hope. So we will start with an opening reflection, and this is a poem by Emily Dickinson. Hope is the thing with feathers that perches in the soul and sings the tune without the words and never stops at all. And sweetest in the gale is heard, and sore must be the storm that could abash the little bird that kept so many warm. I've heard it in the chillest land and on the strangest sea, yet never in extremity it asked a crumb of me. Our next reading comes to us from the Hindu tradition. Universal order and truth were born of blazing spiritual fire, and hence night was born, and hence the ocean of space. From the ocean of space was born time, the year ordaining days and nights, and the ruler of every moment. In the beginning, as before, the Creator made the sun, the moon, the heaven, the earth, the firmament, and the realm of light. Our next reading comes to us from the Jewish tradition, and this comes from the book of Proverbs. The Lord created me at the beginning of his work, the first of his acts of old. Ages ago I was set up, at the first before the beginning of the earth. When there was no depths, I was brought forth, when there was no springs abounding with water. Before the mountains had been shaped, and before the hills I was brought forth. Before he had made the earth with its fields, or the first of the dust of the world. When he established the heavens, I was there. When he drew a circle on the face of the deep, and when he made firm the skies above, and when he established the fountains of deep. When he assigned to the sea its limit, so that the waters might not transgress his command. When he marked out the foundations of the earth. Then I was beside him, like a master workman. I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world, and delighting in the songs of men. Our next reading comes to us from the Muslim tradition, and this comes from Surah 27. Praise be to Allah, who has created the heavens and the earth, who sends you down rain from the sky, and who has made the earth firm to live in, made rivers in its midst, and who listens to the distressed when he calls on them, who relieves its suffering, and who guides you through the depths of darkness. Our next reading comes to us from the Christian tradition, and then comes from the book of 1 Corinthians. When the perishable has been clothed in the imperishable, and the immortal with immortality, then the saying that is written will come true. Death has been swallowed up in victory. Where, O death, is your victory, and where, O death, is your sting? The sting of death is sin, and the power of sin is the law. But thanks be to God. He gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm, let nothing move you. Always give yourselves fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor is in the Lord, and it is not in vain. Our next reading comes to us from the Buddhist tradition, and this comes from the Perfection of Wisdom in 8,000 lines. I pay homage to the Perfection of Wisdom. She is worthy of homage. She is unstained, and the entire world cannot stain her. She is the source of light, and from everyone in the triple world she removes darkness, and she leads away from the blinding darkness caused by the defilements by wrong views. In her we can find shelter. Most excellent are her works. She makes us seek the safety of the wings of enlightenment. She brings light to the blind, and she brings light so that all fear and distress may be forsaken. As the donor of the jewel of all the Buddha Dharmas, she brings about the 10 powers of the Buddha. She cannot be crushed, and she protects the unprotected with the help of the 4 grounds of self-confidence. She is the antidote to birth and death. She has a clear knowledge of the own being of all dharmas, for she does not stray away from it, and the perfection of wisdom of the Buddhas, the Lords, sets in motion the wheel of the law. Good morning again, and thank you all for joining us today for our service of Multifaith and Reflections. My name is Bavli. You might be seeing me looking here, and that's because some of our spiritual care interns are attending the service and are wanting to see how this looks like. So as I mentioned earlier, today's theme is on hope. And so when I think about hope, I always ask myself, what is it? I'm sure we all have hopes, and we all live with different kind of hopes in our life. I hope that one day the Leafs will win the Stanley Cup. Okay, now that's a big hope, right? I believe that will always be a part of me, and I hope that one day it will happen. Now, if you get to know me, you know that I'm a big basketball fan. So before 2019, I was hoping the Raptors would win a basketball championship, but they already have. But I'll continue to hope for that to happen again. As you can tell, I love sports. More specifically, I always love the Raptors. And so I'll continue to always hope for them, for the Leafs and any sports team here in Toronto. Why am I so hopeful? Why am I hopeful that the Leafs, who haven't won a championship since 1967, will one day win one? I ask myself, what does hope look like? I mean, we all have our journeys. I know you do. Being in a hospital bed or looking at your neighbor does not seem hopeful at all. Every day we use that small magical word, hope. It's tough to live or even make it through one day without hope. So what is it? Based on all the examples I've given you so far, and from the readings that we've heard so far, we can define hope like this, maybe. Hope is a vision for better days that changes us in the present. Hope is a vision for better days. And that's something up ahead, around the corner, in sight, and it could be good. But that good future isn't just abstract, because it reaches in and transforms us in the present. So for example, I'm hoping for an A in a class. That hope will, and at least it should, motivate me to study right now to get that A. I'm hoping for a raise at work. So what do? I work harder. If I want world peace, I can stop shouting on my own children or the people in my life and hope one day that will happen. As a child growing up, I knew well the power of hope around the different times of the year, whether it was Christmas, Easter, or other occasions. Because I knew, for example, that my parents would probably buy me something or give me a gift. I had that hope. But that also changed my attitudes and actions around that time as well. That vision for the future drove me to search, for example, for catalogs or through magazines, and maybe give ideas to my parents to give me some presents or gifts depending on the occasion, right? So I had a hope that I would get something from them. Hope is a vision for better days that changes us in the present. Hope sometimes can look very different from what I described. You might be asking, how do I find hope when I have stage 4 cancer? I just had a heart attack. I'm about to die in the next week. Not only do I ask you to challenge yourself to reflect on this yourself and people who are probably in your life who have these diagnoses, but to contemplate in your mind about how you will walk with them on their journey of hope. How does hope look for them, and how does hope look for you? Is there hope at all? I'm not sure if there is an answer, but I believe we can control our actions. One way to unpack this hope is to see that we are all one big interconnected community. One of the marvelous things about community is that it enables us to welcome and to help people in ways that we couldn't do as separate individuals. When we pool our strength and we share the work and the responsibility, we can welcome many people, even those in deep distress, and perhaps help and find self-confidence and potentially inner healing. Sadly, we're losing something about community and about accepting people who are different today. If we have a culture of winning, a culture of success, and a culture of knowledge, those who have less knowledge are not winning. If you notice and you look around you, we are in a culture of huge divisions. We need to teach ourselves how we can lose, because the more we come close to losing, the more we can begin to see the reality of what it means to be human, which is to accept our weaknesses, to discover that all humans are beautiful through our weaknesses. So many people are running around and doing a lot of things, but they're controlled by anguish, by anxiety. Hope is the light at the end of the tunnel when we hold each other's hands and sit in silence with each other. It's not an easy task, but today's readings paint a picture of how we can continue to build on this hope. Our opening reflection tells us that hope pierces the soul and has the ability to guide us as we seek to soar high in the air. The Hindu reading says that if we allow hope to penetrate us, that our space will open as wide as the space of the ocean. The reading from the Jewish tradition, from Proverbs, tells us that God is constantly constructing us in his image and likeness, which is transcendent in the good and the beautiful creation that he has made. The Muslim reading tells us that if we learn to trust each other, that our hope will allow us the space to overcome our suffering and darkness. The Buddhist reading tells us that if we constantly seek the light, we will find shelter in the hope that is manifested from that very same light. And finally, the Christian reading tells us that if we overcome death, it is because we have hope in each other, in the actions that allow us to serve each other as we come together. So, I shared with you at the beginning, I hope that the Leafs will win a championship. So can I continue to hope for the Leafs winning a championship? I think the answer is yes, because as long as we can hope, we continue to believe. But something I noticed is that a community is only being created when its members accept that they are not going to achieve great things, that they are not going to be heroes, but simply live each day with new hope, like children, in the wonderment as the sun rises and in thanksgiving as it sets. Community is only being created when we have recognized that the greatness of humanity is to accept our insignificance, our human condition, and thank God for having put in a finite body the seeds of eternity, which are visible and small in daily gestures of love and forgiveness. The beauty of humanity and the hope we live in is in this devotion to the wonder of each day. So, I will conclude by saying to you, I will continue to hope in the Leafs, that one day they will win a championship, as long as you continue to hope in yourselves and in each other. We will now have our concluding reflection. May all beings be free and happy. May you recognize the power and the beauty within you and within all. May you nurture the seeds of your becoming. May music be like a prayer, your feet a drum to the beat of your heart. May your ministry be rooted in the power of Mother Earth. May your light sparkle. May your heart grow green and healthy and whole. May generosity of spirit flow you like a river, and may your dreams of freedom be fulfilled. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's service. I hope you had enjoyed that. If you'd like to reach out to Spiritual Care, if you need support, please connect with your nurse today and they know how to contact us. Otherwise, our phone number is also located on the Spiritual Care icon in your iPad. Our phone number is there. You can reach out to us and one of our Spiritual Care providers will be able to assist you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.